Governor J.B. Pritzker enacting 68 bills on Friday. I was traveling home from the Republican National Convention, got in, and then pulled up my email and saw that indeed the governor announced he had signed 68 bills for the state of Illinois, enacting these measures in a lump sum of sorts. 68 bills. They impact drivers, they impact migrants, they impact child victims, and even mobile homes. So much more here. So be sure to go to thecentersquare.com and read about these measures. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. So 68 bills. We're not going to go through all of them, but if you go and check out the article, you'll be able to download the PDF of all of the bills that were signed. Again, 68 of them announced on Friday. But we're just going to go through a few of those here. One in particular, House Bill 5457 goes into effect January 1st and allows certain accommodations for testing of certain professional licenses. But as we'll hear in just a moment from floor action, it also prevents license denial or disciplinary action based solely on immigration status or an immigration violation. So if you pull this up and you go to the actual measure on ilga.gov, which is the Illinois General Assembly's website, you'll see that this passed the House 73-39. And then it went to the Senate, and it passed there 39-19. But there really wasn't any debate in the Senate when this ultimately passed. Here is State Senator who carried the bill, Karina Villa, talking about what exactly this measure does for her constituents.
This measure applies to licensing exams for social workers, marriage and family therapists, and professional counselors. This measure simply codifies accommodations that IDFPR already provides these applicants under ADA requirements. The bill will add protections against discrimination based on current or perceived immigration status of applicants seeking accommodations. It's vital that people in our communities have access to behavioral health professionals who can speak their language, and removing these barriers will allow more bilingual applicants to receive their licenses and address the shortage of behavioral health professionals in Illinois.
So again, it's not just about the testing. It's also about that little provision in there concerning, no discipline for immigration violations. In the House, there was a little bit more debate. State Representative Barbara Hernandez sponsored it, but she was asked questions by State Representative Patrick Windhorst.
Thank you, Leader. You touched on, at the close of your remarks, some of the questions I have regarding the denial of a license under the Act for the applicant's real or perceived immigration status. To your knowledge, is that occurring currently?
In the department itself, they haven't done that, but this is just to prevent anything from happening.
And I guess another question would be, how would that occur? Are there questions related to immigration status in the licensure process?
Well, currently, you do need a social security number, but at the same time, we have passed a while ago that I-10 numbers, taxpayer ID number is qualified as well, so that's the only thing that we require. However, as any job, you might need to send more information, so the employer will have to be able to talk to their HR department saying that they applied for, let's say, DACA, for example. They applied for their renewal of DACA. It's just, unfortunately, because of the waiting times, it might be taking a little bit longer.
So again, the Q&A on the House floor, when this passed there was no debate in the Senate, but when the House floor, they discussed this. State Representative Dan Ugasti, a Republican from Geneva, asking the Democrat sponsor a pretty pointed question about, well, if we're not able to, take somebody's professional license away because they violated immigration law, what does that mean if they're deported?
This is only for people
that are currently working here.
What if they're working here and they're not legally working here and have a license?
Well, they have, I guess I don't understand your question because.
Well, my question is, if someone gets deported, are we going to be prevented under this act from taking their license away from them if they're illegally within the country and they've been removed from the country? Can we still remove their license, or will they be able to provide telehealth to people within the state of Illinois? Because the way I read it, I believe we're going to be prevented from acting upon their license.
You can see she's getting instruction from House staff. Happens a lot. Both sides.
So currently, it will not impact their authorization status of employment. That is a little bit unclear, unfortunately, but that is something that the federal government will have to determine. Like I said, here, at least in Illinois, if they are hired, then they get deported, their communication will have to happen, and the department or the employer will have to decide what to do.
Okay, to the bill. I understand the leader's intent in wanting to help move some things along. I believe, though, as in many situations, we do things sometimes with the best of intentions that leave unintended consequences. If a person has a license and has been licensed in the state of Illinois, is then subsequently deported, and really beyond our control for anything from any type of malpractice, malfeasance, or anything else, it's going to be on us to somehow try and rectify that. And I just don't think it's a good idea. So for that reason, I'll be voting against the bill and recommend a no vote.
So again, that measure is in effect starting January 1st. That was just some of the debate on the House floor from when that was passed. But the governor signing that among 68 bills he enacted on Friday. A few others, you've got the move over laws being expanded. It's known as Scott's Law, and it's horrible when you see these headlines of a state trooper being struck by somebody who did not pull over to the other side of the road when they had somebody else pulled over, or if they were helping with somebody else. But this essentially would expand it starting January 1st, that motorists must reduce speeds in and around emergency scenes. And that's, again, expanding the move over law. You've got another measure here, House Bill 5465, victims of human trafficking who were children at the time. They can actually have their juvenile record expunged or sealed if any of those criminal acts were forced upon them when they were being abused. So an interesting measure there. Those who live in manufactured homes, if you're looking to get a new manufactured home starting January 1st, that new manufactured home must have weather radios installed. This as well is something else that was debated in the House. State Representative Kelly Cassidy carrying this measure, Chicago Democrat, and she shared some of the reasons why this measure came about. Here is Representative Kelly Cassidy when this passed on the House floor earlier this spring.
House Bill 5238 is modeled after a law recently passed in Indiana that would require all newly constructed manufactured homes to come equipped with a weather radio for tornado alerts. This has no opposition, and I ask for I vote.
And she went on to talk about how this came about. What was the real genesis? Was it just Indiana making this happen, or other states? Or?
Frankly, this came about because my Chief of Staff, Torrance Gardner, saw a story about it, reminded us of the number of people in Rogers Park who didn't hear the sirens because they malfunctioned, and thought about how much worse that would be if one was living in a mobile home.
So again,
so he was inspired by that article, and here we are.
The back and forth on the House floor, it ultimately passed, and when it did pass, it passed 81-31, so there was opposition in the House. When it got to the Senate, it passed 39-20, but here is State Senator Mike Simmons, Democrat sponsor from Chicago, pushing for this measure.
It requires that every newly installed manufactured home be equipped with a weather radio supplied by the person who installed the manufactured home. The radio must be equipped with a tone alarm activation, a specific alert messaging and coding, and a public alert standard certification. The bill also encourages the operator of the manufactured home community to provide a written reminder to the owners of a manufactured home and communities to replace the batteries and weather radios and smoke detectors each year during National Fire Prevention Week. This is supported by the Manufactured Home Owners Association.
And it ultimately did pass, but not without some opposition in the Senate. State Senator Terry Bryant, a Republican from Murfreesboro, stood up and said that this could increase the price of these affordable housing options.
I would just like to remind the body that almost everyone has a cell phone. the cell phones have weather alerts on them. That's important because what this bill does is it mandates new construction requirements on all new manufactured homes in Illinois, and it makes this very popular affordable housing option more expensive for the people who need them the most. While we should be encouraging affordable housing, this bill actually discourages it. So for those reasons, I urge a no vote.
Simmons pushed back on that and said that he doesn't see this increasing the housing costs and pushes back on the idea of practically everybody has a cell phone.
Folks that live in manufactured homes often have no clue when a tornado is coming. They may not have phone service. They may not have a cell phone. They may not even have the towers nearby to them to alert them that there is a weather disaster. So that is absolutely not accurate. And I welcome any legislation to increase the production and preservation of affordable housing. That's all I've been talking about for the 3 years that I walked into this building. I urge that I vote. Thank you.
That again passed, and the governor enacted it on Friday, along with 68 other bills. And again, another measure that the governor enacted, House Bill 5412, it changes a couple of different tax credits programs for electric vehicle manufacturers and computer chip manufacturers and the like. So 68 bills enacted by Governor J.B. Pritzker on Friday. Obviously, there's still a lot more legislation on his desk. If you go to ilga.gov and you go to the legislative reports, you'll be able to see yourself just how much legislation is on the governor's desk at this time. So if you scroll down and look at bills pending governor action, you hit that. And it'll show you just how many. Scroll all the way down. We got 401 bills pending. So subtract 68 from that, and that's how many more the governor has to act upon. And of course, all of legislative actions really kind of just on hold until the fall veto session, which is going to be after the November election. And that's going to be a rather fascinating time, no question. All right, it is Illinois in Focus Daily. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join us each and every weekday morning as we break down some of the top headlines you need to know to get started with your day. So I appreciate you guys being part of this each and every weekday morning. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us as we bring you Illinois in Focus Daily.